Hi everybody, this is Natalie with Champion of Coins Tarot. I hope that you all are doing very well today and that your new year is off to a wonderful start. I wanted to come on today to share my top tarot and oracle decks for 2022 and also just to, riff and share some updates. This was a really challenging year, as I'm sure it was for many of us. Personally, I changed careers, I moved apartments, I celebrated 1 year of living in a new state and just reflecting on all of the change that brought into my life. And it was kind of an inconsistent year for me as far as tarot is concerned. I was able to use almost every single deck in my collection, with about 5 or 6 exceptions, which is very good because at this point I'm pushing 90 decks in total. But I definitely experienced an intense ebb and flow in my spiritual practice as a result of all of the personal changes that I was going through. So for this list, I really tried to focus on the decks that I used the most, that I had the most fun with, that really were a staple of my practice. And then I did save time at the end for a few honorable mentions that did not make the list in terms of using them frequently, but that were very deep and profound experiences in their own way, and that I'm very excited to continue working with into the new year. So with that disclaimer in mind, I'm going to be going in the order that I used these decks throughout the year, starting with kind of the winter of 2022, January, February, and March. That time period was dominated by 2 decks. One of them is the Cosmovisions Oracle by James Eads. This is based off of the tarot system, but the major arcana has been changed to reflect, rather than the Fool's Journey, James's own personal gnosis about the journey that we take after death. And all of the courts have been updated to different archetypes. But this deck is very beautiful. I honestly do read this as a standard tarot experience, and have had great success with it. I also really enjoy doing 1-card draws, and I very rarely am somebody who only draws 1 tarot card. I like to have a really meaty, intuitive spread with cards all strung around me. But this is one that was very deep and contemplative and so loving and so empowering. It really got me through some kind of critical moments there. And then, of course, I had to pair that with the Prisma Visions Oracle, also by James Eads. This is the one that started it all, the original panoramic tarot deck. And this one is very much a Rider-Waite-Smith based. So I think it's a much more accessible entry into tarot. This was also just so delightful, so energetic, so comforting, so healing in a lot of ways. And it really helped me professionally, honestly, with a lot of ups and downs that were going on in that old job. And also helped me to be able to recenter and to reconnect spiritually. So really loved using those both separately and in combination with one another. The next deck that was so important to my practice and ended up being used all year round was the Thelema Tarot. I've had this deck since 2016, I want to say, and I've always loved it, but this is the year that I completely fell in love with it. It is now probably top 2 decks of all time, alongside the Golden Tarot for me. It's just so incredible, all around a fantastic reader, just very intuitive for me. I love the dreaminess of the landscape. I love the art, which is rare. I don't normally go, I feel like everybody says this about this deck, like I don't normally go for photo manipulated images, but something about this is so cohesive and so well done. And literally, I could not put this down. This is like #1 favorite, most used deck, and now of all time. Next is an oracle deck that was new to my collection. This one, I want to say, is the Spiral Oracle. Yes, that's right. This is the Spiral Oracle. This deck is so amazing. This is one where I would just draw one card and meditate on it by itself. I didn't use it in conjunction with any other tarot. This was just really beautiful. This deck is so wonderful if you are somebody who enjoys dream work, if you are somebody who maybe is walking a psychonaut path. It's also just so beautifully affirming and speaks to human relationship and connection, and being able to both go very deep within, but also to help you reach out and to express your creativity. This was absolutely beautiful, and I've put it aside for the fall and winter, but I am very eager to get this back out and working again. It is one of the best oracles I've ever found, truly. Next is the Asherah Tarot. And this deck, I've wanted it for a long time, solely based off of the name. Asherah is kind of the original goddess of the Hebrew pantheon before monotheism evolved, and she was written out of the tradition. So I was always very intrigued by the name. The thought system kind of threw me because I'm somebody who has a lot of qualms with Hermetic Kabbalah and that history of appropriation. But when I did get this deck, and this is a new reissue that came out this year, it was phenomenal. It's so talkative. I really, really felt deeply connected to divine presence. I felt empowered. I felt like, I don't know, I was just getting some awesome divine armor to go out to conquer the world. And this is one that I think going forward, I am going to really make an effort to use it in my daily spiritual practice. It just is really incredible and otherworldly to me. Next is the 78 Astral Tarot, and I think I featured this in a video that I made before this year. This is another deck that really took me by surprise. Also has been in my collection for a long time, since 2017, and this time we just completely bonded and clicked like no other. This is a collaborative deck with 78 different tarot artists, and despite that, it feels so cohesive. This is also just so sunny and so playful. I love all of the alien imagery, just like the sci-fi imagery. I found that this deck worked best when it had set spread positions to play off of, as opposed to more intuitive draws, just because it's like tunnel vision. Like, you can go in and you can find so many little details that I found having a prompt to work off of helped to keep it grounded and connected to everyday life. I drew the King of Cups a lot in late spring, and so I'm quite fond of this merman figure right here. But this was just an absolute joy and made me so happy. Another one of my all-time favorites now. And I'm excited to journal with it and to do more intensive work going forward. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention the Golden Tarot by Liz Dean in any video of mine. First tarot deck, most loved tarot deck. This for me was just a true balm to the soul and really helped me to get through, again, a lot of those pivotal transitions with moving, with kind of reconnecting with my own heritage, because I started doing a lot of genealogy work with my family over the summer and did some readings around that. Just with all around, it's just like such a great daily reader, and it can really go from like the most mundane question imaginable to being able to truly channel messages from the divine or messages from spirit. So it's really great for mediumship in that way. Even though it's a pip deck, it is very vibrant to me. It has like a very clear voice, and there's no ambiguity when I read with it. It's like it's speaking directly to my heart. So that was one that I used extensively throughout the year, but particularly over the summer. Another really powerful summertime deck for me was the Tarot Apokalypsis. This deck is everything. I think I've also talked about it before. It's a multicultural deck. It depicts different cultures. It depicts different figures from world mythology, but it does so in a very reverent way. There's a lot of dignity to the way that all the figures are portrayed, and it's also one that is fun, that is imaginative, that is really, I keep saying the word empowering, and I think that might be the theme here for a lot of decks that I used, is that they were ones that really helped me to reconnect to my gifts, to help me to see the beauty that I have to offer the world in a time that was very chaotic. But this one did so it was like talking with an old friend, like getting drinks with a girlfriend who is just able to gas you up and get you back on your feet, moving. And this was really, really wonderful. And it's a 79 card deck. So the All Gifted is the bonus Arcana card that comes in this. It's very beautiful. It has Pandora on it. So really loved working with Tarot Apokalypsis. And moving into the fall, the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle is another Thoth-based deck that really had me eating everything that I've ever said about the Thoth system before. So this one is reformatted as an oracle. It's removed all of the Kabbalistic associations, and it has just left the keyword of the Thoth cards along with a like a mantra or just a encouraging saying from the creator herself. And this is one that was very, very good for shadow work. It called me out on my bullshit. It's very direct. It goes right to the heart of the issue, but there's also something about it that feels very contemporary and that I find, at least for me personally, really speaks to the experience of the modern woman or the modern femme person. This was great. I did daily draws with this all throughout the fall. It was such a delight and completely opened my eyes to the wisdom and to the, I guess like ability for tarot to be able to adapt and evolve with the times. Like this is kind of the deck that I always wanted. Like this is, it offers a kind of validation, but at the same time, a level of clarity for dealing with modernity that can sometimes be lost in all of the occult trappings or all the antiquated trappings of other tarot systems and other styles of artwork. So I loved this. Again, all of these are ones that I'm so excited to continue using and to continue like getting into deeper connection with. I paired that as well with the Iris Oracle. And this is another phenomenal shadow work deck. This one is so loving, but also goes directly to the heart of the shadow. And so I've had very, very deep journaling sessions off of just one or two cards with this year. It plays very well with other decks. Right now, I'm actually using it with the Xultun Tarot for the month of January this year, and the synchronicities have been off the chain. But this is one that definitely, it gets under your skin, like it peels back the layers to that inner child, to those places of wounding in the past. and helps to recontextualize those experiences as learning opportunities, as moments that are very rich and that are also surrounded in divine love. It like really helps you to forgive yourself and to forgive other people. At least that's how I have been able to really deepen my own self-knowledge, is through that path of forgiveness and using the Iris Oracle to get there. And then last of the official decks on my top list for 2022 is the Dragon Tarot. Now, in one of my most recent videos, in my response to Candy, Soul, and Soil's Anatomy of a Tarot deck tag, I was talking about how I skipped over using this one initially. I was supposed to use it in the winter of 2022, like around that February, March time, but I was so burnt out that I just didn't touch it. And I went back and I reached for it and I used it almost every single day in November and December. This is another deck that I've had for years that I love. It's great for relationship readings. There's something about the dynamic in the images between the humans and the dragons that just like, I don't know, it's universal to me. Like, this is the divine triad right there, or something. I really love it. And it's also a good all-around reader. Like the Golden Tarot, it can context switch really, really well. And so this was great. Just every question that I had for it, it also spoke very clearly and very directly to me. And it's wonderful. And I don't want to put it down, but I've already assigned all of the decks to the particular weeks in the year that I'm supposed to use them. So we will get back in touch with one another very, very soon. But love the Dragon Tarot. I do have a review of this on my channel, and one of my goals for 2023 is to actually start posting review videos again. I say that every single time, but I actually mean it this time. That's the benefit of doing a challenge like this, where you're trying to use every single thing in your collection, is that you take notes and you refresh yourself on what really works, what questions a deck is really well suited for, and then you can offer like a better like advice to other people, I guess, who are interested in it. Anyways, honorable mentions, Voyager Tarot. Another all-time favorite deck. I only used this a few times this year, very, very sparingly, but I love it. Like, this deck, whenever I draw from it, it's like static electricity. It's like the message just shoots through me, through my brain, through my heart, up and down my spine. It's such an incredible spiritual experience. And like, this is the ultimate spell work. This is the ultimate sacred work deck, in my opinion. Meditation, just everything. This deck really transcends time and space in a way that nothing else that I have experienced thus far can. So I love it. Always, always, always. Another honorable mention deck for me is the Fantastical Tarot. This one was new to my collection. I only used it a few times. Oh, and I think I have the spare cards in here. So I've only used this one a few times, specifically for dream work, and it has been absolutely wonderful. The images flow together so well. It's like you're reading a storybook, and they bounce off of one another in a spread. There are just so many connections to be drawn. There's so many details. Like this version of Seven of Cups showed up so many times in my dreams during one particular period, and I saw something new in here every single time. Like, what are those figures doing? They are always up to something. They are always running from and running to something, which is just fabulous. And of course, like, reading through all of those positions in order to find out the particular context of that dream. So I do want to utilize this more. I only used it, again, a couple of times. Always with the Seven of Cups, though. But they were very like deep, intense readings. And so I want to figure out a way to be able to use this in a more sustainable manner going forward, because I really have nothing else in my spiritual toolkit that fits in with my dream work practice in that way. Now, the artwork is very confrontational. It is very spooky and kind of uncanny, and I like that, because that's just the subconscious mind, baby. That's just the shadow distorting and twisting in on itself. We got to untangle that. So I love this deck's ability to do that. I also love this Chariot card. On a bit of a lighter note, another great honorable mention for me is the Xultun Mayan Tarot. I love this deck for so many reasons. I was a research assistant for a Mayan translation project when I was in college. So Mayan mythology and history has a very special place in my heart, and I was so happy to see an authentic representation of the Mayan people in this deck. I have the full guidebook. I need to get around to that. That was like one goal that I didn't really meet for myself this year. So 2023, I'm going to dig in deep with the guidebook. But even without that added context, this deck reads so easily. Great for a lot of everyday matters, actually. This was great daily draw deck. Great for focusing on themes of family and community building. And it was just so sunny and fiery, and I used this a lot this summer, not as frequently as the other ones that ended up making the cut. And honestly, like, had I not put off doing an intentional study of this, it would have made the formal list. But very, very happy with it. And then last but certainly not least is the Intuition Oracle. So this is by the same couple who did the Enchanted Tarot. This is so beautiful. I just love the artwork so much. Each card has an archetype associated with it and an affirmation. The guidebook also goes into much more detail about some of the specific symbolism that they decided to include in this collage work. It's actually, I say collage, these are all tapestries. Like, these are all pieces of fabric and pieces of paintings that were then stitched together specifically to form this deck, which is incredible. And you can see that luster and that sheen shine through. I paired this with a lot of different decks, but especially with the Golden Tarot. I just complemented it so beautifully, and I'm excited to continue using this. It has a great range of both light and shadow, which is very rare to find in Oracle, at least for me. So I really enjoyed this. It also does depict different ethnicities, different cultures, different points in history, and that makes it timeless. Again, it feels like it's a deck that can kind of go beyond itself and be truly transcendent. So those are all of my standout decks for 2022. Let me know if any of these were favorites for you as well, or if you are interested in learning more about them. I would be happy to continue the conversation in another video. Again, I hope that you all are well. I hope that you are just so empowered. Really, like, the last few years have been very difficult for so many of us, and so I hope that 2023 brings you so much strength and so much healing, and that you are able to find so much love and to be able to do the unique work that you are called to do in the world. So I'm sending you much love, and I will talk to you later. Bye.